According to some draft experts, we've had 3 LeBron James the last 10 years. Every 7-foot white guy from Europe is Dirk Nowitzki. Idiots! That's like, oh, this guy's the next Eminem. No, this guy is. I wonder why. No, I'm just kidding, that is too harsh. It's impossible to guess what 19-year-olds are gonna turn into in the NBA, and worse, we make these experts compare them to NBA pros. Clearly, there will be some mistakes. Even NBA GMs mess this up. But it is fun to look back at these awful predictions. It's also cool to see what they got right. In this video, we are breaking down the top 5 and bottom 5 draft comps the last 10 years. Hey, it's Casey. It's another top 5, bottom 5 Friday on AM Hoops. Hit subscribe. Also, go subscribe over at Patreon. Today's video was requested by Jackie Quang, who is a Patreon subscriber, so gets a shout out and can request a video. NBA draft player comps are not always about how good a player is gonna become, it's about how they play the game. So I'm not about to rip someone for comparing Lonzo Ball to Magic Johnson. Lonzo does have elite court vision, but if they somehow compared him to like Kendrick Perkins, that's another story. Also, every comp here came from Bleacher Report. Now, I'm not beating up on Bleacher Report. They know when making these comps, some will be off. I mean, I would do horrible if I was forced to compare guys every draft. Please do not request that, Patreon people. But let's start with number 5, and that is from 2011, Kawhi Leonard compared to Gerald Wallace. Now, Kawhi is only number 5 here because the comp actually did kind of make sense coming out of college, but 8 years later, it is ridiculous. Kawhi Leonard's development is such a crazy story, you can't have a video like this without mentioning Kawhi. I mean, Kawhi couldn't hit a jump shot at San Diego State. Who saw him turning into this? Well, the Spurs did, apparently. They gave up a young George Hill to get Kawhi. Wallace was known for defense and rebounding, never considered elite on offense. Kawhi has become a 2-time Finals MVP and the best two-way player in the NBA. Bottom 5, number 4, the 2019 comparison of RJ Barrett to James Harden. Now, a lot of these draft comps look bad years down the line. I think we can already say they got this so wrong. Who in their right mind would compare James Harden, the best scorer in the league and a great shooter, to RJ freaking Barrett? Did they watch him at Duke? Harden shoots career 36% from downtown, 86% from the line. Barrett barely cracked 40% from the field and 61% from the line. What makes this worse is, in college, RJ Barrett was 66% from the charity stripe, 30% from 3. Really, you got James Harden from that. They both get to the basket and are left-handed, but there were way better comps than this. Bottom 5, number 3, from 2013, Cody Zeller was compared to Chris Bosh. Cody Zeller was the number 4 overall pick because he was a boss at Indiana. Clearly, Charlotte thought he would be a franchise player like Chris Bosh was for Toronto. Turns out he's been a solid starting big. But forget that ceiling, the comp itself was way off. Zeller has a below average mid-range shot, forget the 3-ball. He has bad hands, and his defense is suspect. Chris Bosh is the opposite of all that. If we did a redraft for 2013, Zeller probably wouldn't even be a lottery pick. Bosh, on the other hand, an 11-time All-Star and a 2-time champ. Bottom 5, number 2, from 2017, Markelle Fultz compared to James Harden. This is from a talent and skill set standpoint, but I gotta make one thing clear. Markelle Fultz is absolutely a bust as a number 1 overall pick. You see all over the internet people saying, oh, he's not a bust because of what he's done in Orlando. I think more that's just people rooting for Markelle Fultz. He seems like a nice kid. Look, he's not Anthony Bennett level bust, but I don't even think he would be a lottery pick. He would be late first round if we did a redraft. That is a bust. So obviously comparing his talent to James Harden is off, but the skill set is too. Look, Harden, we've already gone over it, a very good shooter, master of the step back 3. You know Fultz shot 25% from 3 this year? Look, outside of being backcourt players, you just cannot compare these two. But draft comp number 1 from 2015, yes, Kevon Looney was actually compared to a poor man's Kevin Durant. Kevon Looney was probably the Kevin Durant of his high school, maybe a poor man's KD at UCLA, where they ran sets through him and he was versatile offensively. Clearly that didn't translate to the NBA. Looney is not good enough to run your offense through. He is not an NBA level ball handler, and he doesn't remind anyone of KD shooting the ball. Looney is versatile on defense as a switching big, but that is one of the worst draft comps the last decade. All right, so that is the bottom 5. Let's get to the top 5 draft comps. And honestly, I am amazed when these are so spot on, because you actually have to project these players at an NBA level. Obviously, there's gonna be more wrong than right over the last 10 years, but I have got to give these experts props for these 5 comps. Number 5, 2012, Anthony Davis compared to Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett changed the game for guys his size. He proved that big men could dominate offensively with range. At the same time, he won games with his defense. AD does the same thing, but with a three-point shot. I think if Kevin Garnett was coming up in this era, he would have shot more threes too. So the comp isn't perfect, but that's why it's at number 5. Both guys carried a small market franchise for years, then went to another team with stars to win big. There's a chance that AD wins Defensive Player of the Year this season. KG did that in 2008. Garnett was so good that he won 1 MVP in 2004. I think AD's got that same talent to win at least 1 MVP. Top 5, number 4, from 2014, TJ Warren compared to Trevor Ariza. I was really surprised to see such an accurate comparison for TJ Warren, because he's underrated even today. Both players are above average wing defenders, and they carry their teams offensively on any given night, leaning on their 3-ball. Their numbers are crazy similar too. Ariza 3-point percentage, 37%, Warren 38%. Ariza free throw percentage, 84%, Warren 82%. Ariza assists per game, 1.7, Warren 1.4. The comparisons go on, and it is pretty cool how close they are. Top 5, number 3, from 2019, Ja Morant compared to Russell Westbrook. And what I love here is they didn't say a poor man's Russell Westbrook, which would have been easy to say because he was coming out of Murray State. No, they came out and predicted he would be like the MVP. Ja Morant's Russ comparison, easy to make in college, but predicting he would translate that to the pros took some guts. The Grizzlies obviously agreed by taking him number 2 overall, and it has paid off. The reason Ja isn't higher on this list is his shooting is better than Russ. Ja makes 37% of his threes, but it's not far off from Westbrook because he only makes about 1 3 per game. Russ used to have similar range, but he's regressed. Honestly, coming out of Murray State, I thought comparing him to Russell Westbrook was one of those totally unfair comps and something you shouldn't do to such a young guy. But I give props to Ja Morant for living up to this comparison, and this is a great thing for the Grizzlies and for the league. Comp number 2, from 2012, Damian Lillard compared to Stephen Curry. And look, I have to say this immediately because people freak out whenever you compare Steph Curry to Damian Lillard. Steph, obviously the better player. He's got 2 MVPs, multiple championships. This is not about that. We're talking about their skill sets. Obviously, both guys can make a 35-plus footer in crunch time of a big game like no one else. But their playing styles are similar beyond that. If you don't pick up Steph at half court, he will hit that 35-footer. So will Dame. If you double Steph, he'll find the open man. Dame too. If you push too far up on Steph Curry, he will drive past you to the rim or draw a foul and get to the line. A Damian Lillard staple. They're both cold-blooded in big games, and it is one of those early draft comps that proved to be 100% right. But comp number 1 from 2014, Marcus Smart being a blend of Jarrett Jack and Eric Bledsoe. These are like the perfect players to compare Marcus Smart to. Think about it. Eric Bledsoe, an all-defense point guard. That is the calling card for Marcus Smart. Jarrett Jack, a 6th-man type, serviceable point guard on offense. Probably wouldn't start on a really good team, but he would on an average team. That is Marcus Smart. Their numbers, Jarrett Jack, 34% from downtown, Smart, 35%. Jack, 4.6 assists per game, Smart, 4.8. Jarrett Jack, 11 points per game, Smart, 13. The only thing they didn't get right here was the intangibles, but I think Jarrett Jack / Eric Bledsoe / Patrick Beverley would have been too perfect. Let me know what I got right and what I got wrong from this top 5, bottom 5. Also, let me know in the comments what you want to see on Fridays in the future. Again, with draft comps, I mean, these things are impossible to make. I really feel for the guys who have to make these every single year. They get a lot wrong, but they do get a lot right too. Support AM Hoops and click subscribe. Don't miss a daily NBA video.